For a brief moment, Tinder didn't just change dating. It changed how we think about human connection. It took the complex, sometimes agonizing search for a partner and turned it into a highly addictive reflex. It was intoxicating and incredibly lucrative. But there was a structural flaw baked into the company's DNA from day one. The very thing that built the empire, gamifying intimacy, eventually made the product feel cheap and burned out the user base. Today, the company that defined a generation is stuck in a trap of its own making. Tinder launched in 2012 out of Hatch Labs, an incubator backed by IAC, with Sean Rad and Justin Mateen at the center, and a broader early team that included Jonathan Badin, Joe Munoz, Chris Golsinski, and Whitney Wolf Hurd. The main innovation was that you didn't need to write essays, record awkward videos, or wait days for replies like with traditional online dating. It was dating native to a smartphone, with quick decisions, no friction, and fast matching. Tinder spread on college campuses first, pushed hard through fraternities and sororities. By 2014, there were roughly 750 million swipes and 10 million matches per day, and investors were already debating valuations in the billions for a product that was barely 2 years old. But by late 2014, despite the app's exploding popularity, things inside the company were already starting to crack. In November that year, co-founder Sean Rad was demoted from his CEO position following a sexual harassment lawsuit filed by a former executive. Although Rad came back to the CEO role briefly in 2015, the episode kicked off a long, messy history of executive volatility. At the same time, the company faced a huge challenge. It needed to work out how to make money from users who saw the product as a free, fun game. The introduction of Tinder Plus in early 2015, which charged users for features like unlimited swipes and the ability to rewind a left swipe, was a crucial test. It forced users to put a price tag on something they'd got for free before, and that created some tension between the platform's business goals and the fun user experience. As Match Group, Tinder's corporate parent, prepared for its IPO, analysts pointed out this exact issue. Introducing more paid features risked turning off users who were used to a free game, but the company really needed to prove it could make money to Wall Street. Match Group successfully went public in November 2015, taking control over its main growth engine, just as Tinder's monetization efforts started gaining traction. By summer 2016, Match Group's profits were climbing, driven largely by Tinder heating up in international markets as those paid features finally started converting free users into paying customers. The period from 2018 through 2021 was some of the best financial performance for Tinder, but it was also marked by all-out war between the app's founders and their corporate overlords, as well as growing competition from outside. The internal tension that had been simmering since 2014 exploded in 2018, when the Tinder founders sued IAC and Match Group. They claimed the parent companies had manipulated financial data to cheat them out of stock options, seeking billions in damages and painting a picture of corporate greed trampling the product's original vision. While this legal battle played out, the dating app market was getting crowded. Competitors like Bumble were aggressively grabbing market share, leading to a full-on dating app war as platforms fought for user attention. But even as Tinder dominated, a quiet threat to its whole philosophy was appearing from within Match Group's own portfolio. Another Match Group product, Hinge, rebranded with a specific tagline, designed to be deleted. This was a direct challenge to Tinder's model of endless swiping. Hinge focused on thoughtful interaction, appealing to users who were already burned out by how superficial the swipe mechanic of Tinder felt. By later promoting Hinge as the place for serious daters, Match Group was basically admitting that its flagship product had become a place where real connection went to die. Despite all the drama, Tinder remained the clear financial powerhouse for Match Group heading into the pandemic. When COVID-19 lockdowns hit in 2020, it gave online dating a massive, unexpected boost. Isolated users turned to apps for connection, and Tinder leaned heavily into video and social features, trying to capture a restless Gen Z audience stuck at home. Recognizing that the endless swipe was getting boring, the company introduced an Explore section in late 2021, trying to give users more ways to connect based on interests rather than just photos. It was an admission that part of the app that made it famous, one that even created a popular phrase meaning to avoid something, swipe left, was losing its edge. But the company seemed to be handling the chaos pretty well. By late 2021, Match Group took a big step to resolve its past by agreeing to pay a whopping $441 million to settle the long-running lawsuit with the Tinder founders. But the hangover from the pandemic boom hit hard in 2022, bringing reality down hard on Tinder's cultural standing and business health. In early 2022, public perception of Tinder took a big hit with the release of the Netflix documentary, The Tinder Swindler. The film told the story of a con man who scammed women he met on the app out of millions of dollars. While Match Group had banned him from their platforms, the documentary highlighted serious safety issues within the app's ecosystem and influenced how mainstream audiences viewed the platform. The documentary reinforced the idea that the game could have dangerous real-world consequences. In response, Tinder started rolling out background checks for users, a feature that showed just how far the platform had moved from its carefree early days. This cultural backlash lined up with a shift in the economy. By late 2022, high inflation was squeezing consumer spending. Match Group reported that paying subscriber numbers were holding up despite the economy, but the easy money of the pandemic era was vanishing. The pressure mounted on the leadership. In August 2022, Tinder CEO Renate Nyborg left after less than a year in the role, following disappointing earnings. In a sign of how serious things had become, Match Group CEO Bernard Kim took direct control of Tinder, stepping in to manage the brand's day-to-day operations. Investors reacted badly to the leadership gap and poor forecasts, causing Match Group shares to fall. It was around this time that Match Group started quietly acknowledging the limits of the Tinder brand. The company increasingly highlighted Hinge as its new main growth driver in a strategic shift that suggested that Tinder's reputation as a hookup app was becoming a problem in attracting users looking for a little substance. The financial cracks widened in early 2023. Tinder's owner forecasted revenue below estimates following a quarterly decline, signaling that the growth engine had officially stalled. In response to the slowing growth and economic pressure, Match Group announced it would cut about 8% of its staff. The severity of the downturn seemed to catch management off guard. Even as signs of saturation appeared in key markets like the US, company leadership initially stayed confident, with Match Group's CFO saying in August 2023 that they definitely have not hit saturation for Tinder users domestically. This optimism clashed with what was actually happening, where users were increasingly tired of the pay-to-play system needed to get visibility on the platform. By late 2023, the struggle to make money had led to increasingly aggressive tactics. Tinder launched an ultra-premium subscription tier priced at nearly $500 per month, aimed at its most active users. Many market watchers saw this move not as a sign of strength, but as proof of how hard it had become to squeeze more revenue from regular users. The market wasn't impressed. In late 2023, Match Group stock dropped again after reporting a continued decline in people paying for Tinder. The combination of stalled growth, declining paying users, and a damaged brand made Match Group a prime target for activist investors in 2024. The story shifted from a company struggling with its product to a company no longer fully in control of its own fate. In January 2024, the Wall Street Journal reported that Elliott Investment Management had built a big stake in Match Group and was planning to push for changes to boost the company's struggling stock price. The pressure got worse, with forecasts showing that overall consumer spending on dating apps was falling, further hurting revenue expectations. The pressure intensified throughout the year. By July 2024, activist investor Starboard Value had grabbed a stake of over 6.5% in Match Group, adding another powerful voice demanding a turnaround. Starboard's involvement showed deep frustration with management's inability to fix the core Tinder business. The activist pressure continued into 2025, with Anson Funds also pushing for changes in board representation. The arrival of multiple activist investors underscored a key realization that the company was at the mercy of people demanding quick returns because its main product had suffered long-term brand damage. The gamification strategy that built the empire had eventually turned off the user base, leaving the company vulnerable when the inevitable fatigue set in. If you want to know who else is vulnerable right now, you should check out my newsletter. I go over distressed debt, leveraged finance, bankruptcies, and restructuring company research, so you can keep on top of what's happening. Click the link in the description. Facing intense pressure from both users and investors, Tinder's current strategy leans heavily on a tech pivot. The company is betting big that artificial intelligence can fix the user experience that its swipe mechanic broke. In 2024, Tinder started rolling out AI tools designed to curate profile pictures and improve matchmaking, a clear attempt to win back disillusioned Gen Z users who've grown tired of the manual grind of swiping. Match Group executives have said they want to use this AI push to change how the app is perceived among younger demographics. Along with the AI push, the company is doubling down on safety improvements to rebuild trust. Recognizing that long-term growth is impossible if users feel unsafe, Tinder has expanded safety features, trying to shake off its reputation as a risky, unvetted marketplace for human connection. This includes implementing background checks and better reporting tools, which are painful admissions that the frictionless anonymity that fueled its early growth have become a big problem. And a tech fix might not be enough to solve deep cultural and management issues. Leadership instability still plagues the organization. Faye Ioso Taluno, who was appointed CEO of Tinder in January 2024, stepped down in July 2025 after just a year and a half. Once again, Match Group CEO Spencer Raskoff had to step in to fill the gap at the top of the Tinder division. The stakes for Match Group couldn't be higher. As the company's main revenue driver, the entire organization's fate depends on Tinder's ability to pull off a turnaround. As of late 2025 and early 2026, things are still shaky. While some recent earnings reports have shown slight improvements, analysts note that Tinder is still searching for love from users, struggling to regain the momentum it lost. Making the turnaround even harder are critiques from former employees and executives who've expressed concerns that the company's obsession with metrics and monetization destroyed the authentic social experience it once promised. After a decade of treating dating as a game, Tinder is finding that its users don't want to play anymore. If you want more stories about businesses that used to dominate the landscape but are struggling while the landscape changes, click the link to my videos above.